Ian.
Hello.
And welcome to our review of the Riviera Resort at Walt Disney World. Now, we have stayed here 5 times, so we have some opinions. Let's start with breakfast at Topolino's Terrace. What do you think, Jim?
Best breakfast on property.
I concur.
The butcher steak, best steak at Disney.
You know, we actually liked what we got there so much that we got the same thing both times. And it is just the best quality breakfast on property, because even another breakfast that we love, like the Wave, it's hit or miss just how they are cooking that day. But the breakfast at Topolino's is every bit the quality as the dinner is.
I mean, it costs too.
It is expensive. Yeah, I know. You couldn't ask for a better breakfast on property. You really couldn't. It's better quality than the breakfast at the Waldorf. So talk about the steak.
So the steak, it's what's called a butcher's cut. It's marinated and it's cooked over an oak fire, I believe. It's a fantastic steak. It's a couple of ounces. It's not a giant steak. It's breakfast. You don't need to eat a big steak for breakfast. But it comes with polenta, wild mushrooms, roasted tomatoes, roasted onions, and then your choice of an egg. Worth it. It's $42.
It's $42.
And I think that's honestly worth it even without the character experience.
And I ordered the waffle. These are some of the best waffles I've ever had. They're light and fluffy. They come with this orange flavored whipped cream. It's like a really thick, rich whipped cream. This is fresh, it's thick, it's creamy. This is just such a good breakfast. They give you this cute little bucket of pastries and they are all excellent. You can pay extra for a Bloody Mary or a mimosa, but your normal beverage, a soda, coffee, anything like that is included in that price. The characters are adorable. Their outfits are so detailed. They are just so cute. They're all artists. Mickey is a painter and he's so cute. He's got paint on him and he is just so cute. And Minnie is a poet and she has writing all over her dress and she just has the cutest, chicest Parisian dress. And Daisy is a ballerina. And look at her, and she makes these cute little ballerina poses. And Donald is a sculptor. He is just adorable. I just love Donald, and he's especially cute here. And so since they're not doing autographs right now, if you go there, they're giving out these little cards that have the picture, and then on the back, they're little signatures.
It's probably my favorite character dining experience. The atmosphere, the food, the characters are fun. The wait staff is fantastic there. Never had a bad meal there. It's a little bit expensive, but it's worth it. You're at Disney World. It's a great splurge for breakfast.
While you were at breakfast, you got a text that your room is ready early. It's a Festivus miracle. So let's go down to the parking lot and get our bags and check in the room. So what do you think about the park?
It's 2 separate parking lots. Usually the gate guard will tell you, hey, park on the left, park on the right. It's not as far away to park there as it is as, say, Animal Kingdom or Boardwalk. But parking's not bad. The lots are big and open. In certain areas, you can park quite close to the doors if you get there early enough.
It's a pretty compact resort. Yeah. So it's not sprawling the way that Boardwalk is sprawling. It's built more up rather than out. So the parking lot isn't huge. So it's more like parking at Bay Lake Tower. So let's talk a little bit about the transportation options at the resort. Now, the Riviera's only transportation options are buses and Skyliner. The Skyliner will take you to Hollywood Studios and to Epcot. It's not super fast. It's just that you don't have to get on a bus or walk or take a boat. But the trip to Epcot can take like 15 minutes. Because they have Skyliner to Epcot and Studios, though, they do not have buses to those parks, except when the weather's bad and the Skyliner's down. If you do not want to ride the Skyliner, if you are really scared of it, then you really just should not stay there. Unless you have your own car and you really don't care about Disney transportation. And otherwise, you have buses, and I haven't ridden the buses from the Riviera, but I haven't seen anybody complain about buses from the Riviera. It's just Disney bus system, you know, for good and bad. But those are your only 2 transportation options at the Riviera.
And something to keep in mind, if you're going to Hollywood Studios, it's not a direct ride to Hollywood Studios on the Skyliner. You have to stop at Caribbean Beach Club.
Well, if you want to get to Hollywood Studios, you should just go ahead and walk from the Riviera to the Caribbean Beach Skyliner station. and just get on there. Now for the lobby. The lobby is small. It doesn't have a big grand lobby like a lot of the Disney resorts do. When it is crowded, it can feel pretty crowded in there, but in the lobby, you will find the one store called La Boutique. And this is a really nice store though. My problem with the store is it's not big enough. It really should be bigger for a resort this size. The resort has a lot of resort specific merchandise. They have a lot of Riviera merchandise because they're actively selling the Riviera right now. And they have some really cute stuff there. This is one of my favorite t-shirts. There's just cute little t-shirt with Donald and Mickey, and I really like the color and I just think it's adorable. And then we also bought this beach towel of the Riviera. And here's the bottom of it. They're so cute. I just think this is cute. I really like the merchandise that they've made for the resort. It's really cute. They're starting to do that more with the other resorts, which is nice. They also have a touchscreen in there that you can use to buy artwork from the Riviera. It's not cheap, but if there's something that you really like that you see at the resort, you can buy it. And that's a really cool idea. You can buy it framed or unframed. And in this store, that's your little sundries store, your little grocery store. There's a little corner that has DVC merchandise. So there's a lot of good stuff in this store, and that's a shame that it's small. Like, they really should have made it bigger. I think that's a complaint I have about a lot of the things at this resort. It's just some things they needed to make just a little bit bigger, but it's really nice. It's one of my favorite stores. I just wish it was bigger. So also in the lobby is Le Petit Cafe, and this is the little coffee bar at the resort. The stuff in here is excellent. The pastries are such high quality. In the morning, they have your normal sort of breakfast pastries, but then in the afternoon and evening, they have all of these delicious desserts, like this wonderful little lemon cheesecake. It was so good. And here we have a little video of this little seasonal pumpkin dessert that they made last fall. So they're always making little things like that. The desserts that they have there all year, like those chocolate profiteroles, they are so good.
You know, they have the standard Joffrey's coffee drinks. They have a full coffee bar. Plus they serve cocktails there, so you can get a mixed drink in the evening.
And then they have a little seating area behind there called the Voyageurs Lounge.
It's kind of like a little library. It's a very, it's a very
like
nice
a
place
library.
to sit.
Now the pools, I really like the pools there. I would say this is my favorite pool at a DVC resort. And for comparison, my second favorite would be the quiet pool at the boardwalk. So that's my type of a pool. It's not as shady as the one at the boardwalk, but they have plenty of umbrellas. But I really like the quiet pool there. It's big enough. It doesn't feel too small because it isn't a very large resort. So the pools don't ever really feel crowded because they don't have to cater to that many people. But the quiet pool there, I love the music that they play. Now, the main pool is themed to Fantasia. It could be way more themed, in my opinion, because I love Fantasia. They've got the hippos and the elephants, and I think there's some of the ostriches around. Yeah. It's got a really nice water slide. I think that the pool is definitely one of the pluses of the resort.
And they're not blaring loud music all day. It's pleasant. You don't feel like you're at a nightclub like you do at some of the other pools.
Yeah, it feels more relaxed. Now, in between the two pools on the corner is the pool bar called Bar Riva. Now, the pool bar still hasn't gone back to its pre-COVID menu. They used to have a Monte Cristo sandwich on there and we didn't get a chance to try it. So they've got some lighter menu options and several different mixed drinks that you can get there, but it's not an enclosed bar, so you can't really go in there to really get great air conditioning. Okay, so let's talk about the theme a little. It's called Disney's Riviera Resort. I feel like that theme is kind of a miss. The building to me does not evoke the Riviera. It evokes Paris. If they had called it Disney's Parisian Resort, I would have been like, oh wow, they really nailed this theming. But as it is, I and a lot of other people feel like, but it doesn't really seem Riviera just because there's palm trees.
I mean, when I think Riviera, I think the Mediterranean. I think bright
Not
colors.
gray.
I don't think gray with a couple of splashes of blue and red for awnings on the corner. It is kind of a miss. It does feel like, it feels more Paris. Even inside the lobby, right? Narrow staircases, a small lobby. It feels like a big city hotel on the inside.
The lobby really reminds me of the lobby of that place we stayed in Paris, in Saint-Germain. They decided to call it Riviera, but then they went ahead and made the building so Paris. And then I also feel that the little, the French-Italian mixing that they have going on just seems a little confusing. They named the restaurants Italian names, but the things in the lobby have French names.
Like the only Italian theme I really see is the restaurants. Everything else feels French. It looks French. It just seems like they're really trying to mix something in there, like they forced the Italian piece into there so that they could have Italian restaurants.
I think the resort is very nicely done. It's very nicely decorated. It just doesn't scream Riviera to me. Well, now that we've had some time to enjoy the resort, it's time for dinner. And just as an aside, I will say that I wish that the Riviera had one more table service restaurant though. Also, they don't have a table service restaurant that's open for lunch.
Right.
All you have is Topolino's is only open for breakfast and dinner. So I really wish that they had added. That's just my comment.
They need the equivalent of the Grand Floridian Cafe.
Yeah, or the Wave. Which is now Steakhouse 71. Now Topolino's Terrace dinner is excellent.
Oh, definitely. It's one of my favorite dinners on property. The food is excellent. It's high quality. It's just, there's not a big variety. In the current times, it's even reduced from what it was when they first opened. We were lucky. We went there when they first opened and they had a lot more variety, but they've had the same veal chop on the menu the whole time. They've had the same appetizers on the menu the whole time. They've added a couple things here and there, but it doesn't vary widely like the California Grill does. To compare similar type restaurants, similar price restaurants, it's not as, it doesn't change as much. And that's a shame because again, it's the only place you can eat dinner there. Yeah, so it forces us off property or off to a different restaurant.
It reduces the revisitability because they don't change their menu as much as California Grill does. And that's what keeps us going back to California Grill because every few months they've done something different and it makes it worth going again. So I really hope though that in the future Topolino's does change up their menu more. But if you've never been there before, it's an excellent restaurant. The veal chop is really good.
It's fantastic. Like they have a nice cocktail menu. They have seasonal cocktails that are delicious. So if you're a cocktail person, I've had a couple of different ones there that I've always enjoyed. I just wish they would change more.
It's got a really great view. It's a really nice view, especially in the evening, and they have a nice terrace that you can go out on with your drink and enjoy the view. Watch the Skyliner go by. Now, my personal recommendation when you eat dinner at Topolino's though is to not get dessert there, but go downstairs to Le Petit Cafe in the lobby and get one of those desserts there because I think that those desserts are better than the ones up in Topolino's. I feel like the Topolino's desserts they're nothing special, but the ones downstairs are inexpensive and special. So you can really get 2 desserts down there for what you would pay for 1 dessert upstairs.
I agree that there's nothing special about the dessert at Topolino, which is a shame.
Yeah, it is. It is really a shame. And it's even more, I think they've only got 3 desserts now. And they used to at least have like 5.
They have the standard molten lava cake.
Yeah.
Every restaurant has.
Which doesn't come with enough ice cream. So after dinner, it's time to go nighty-night in your room. And you can check out my reviews of the Riviera Tower Studio and the Riviera Deluxe Studio to see what those are like because we've stayed in both types of rooms. So now it's morning and it's time for best quick service breakfast on property, in my opinion, downstairs in Primo Piatto.
I would highly recommend a Primo breakfast. It's a very good breakfast. It's my favorite, our favorite breakfast of places that we stay for a quick service. The Primo platter, it's got polenta in it and some scrambled egg and some vegetables and the roasted tomatoes. I think a brioche roll.
And it's just choice of meat.
And a choice of meat. So you can get sausage. I think you can get vegetarian sausage, meat, plant-based sausage.
It is on another level compared to that horrific Disney breakfast platter that they have at every other quick service. And I'm looking at you, Contemporary and Grand Floridian, with the sad Mickey waffle. No, this, if that's what you're thinking, the Primo breakfast platter is definitely elevated. And for lunch and dinner, they have burgers, flatbread pizza that is definitely better than the standard flatbreads that you get. The tomato soup that you can get as a side, it is so good. It comes with these little focaccia croutons. It's really good. They also have little pre-scooped cups of gelato. You can get a croque monsieur, a tuna niçoise salad. The quick service down there, it's a little small, I think. It again, just like everything at the Riviera, it's like they didn't build anything quite big enough. They have excellent little grab-and-go cheese plate and charcuterie plate. They were really good. They come with grapes and little crackers.
And they're like less than $10.
Before they reopened, they actually had a couple of cooked entrees. Like they had a steak and a roasted chicken, and those were really good. And again, a little bit more elevated from the normal resort quick service. but those haven't returned since reopening. But I hope they do, because again, it needs a little something. The menus there are still feeling a little too limited.
When it had that, it kind of bridged that lack of another sit-down restaurant, because there's a little better quality
it was served
food.
on actual china.
Right.
Like it was served on ceramic plates. It was a little more elevated, but those haven't come back, but I hope they do bring those back. So let's get into how much does it cost to stay there? Is it worth it? I have here a slide of weekly points requirements, DVC point, the lowest amount of points for a week and the highest amount of points for a week. And then just to give you a couple of real world examples, I have showing you how much a week would cost at the second lowest time of year, which is January and the first half of December, and what it would cost to stay here for a week during spring break, which is the second highest time of year. And you can see that the points vary a lot based on your type of room. You can also see that it costs a lot of points to stay here. This resort is on the expensive side for points. The boardwalk is definitely a lot fewer points, and you can walk to 2 parks. The Riviera points charts are almost as expensive as the Grand Floridian. If you basically add 10% to any of those numbers that you see there, that's pretty much what you would pay to stay at the Grand Floridian. So then you just have to ask yourself, is the Grand Floridian only 10% better than the Riviera? I don't know, that's up to you. I value being able to walk to a park and to be able to have easy access to some other resorts. That's important to me too. To me, that's the kind of thing that makes it hard to want to spend an entire week at the Riviera.
Right. I think the Grand Floridian is more than 10% better. It's got way more restaurants, the monorail. It's got a walking path to Magic Kingdom. It's a better experience. The lobby is grand and beautiful. And if you're going to stay for a whole week, I would go Grand Floridian over the Riviera, because I just think you get more bang for your buck. Riviera for a couple of days? Absolutely, though.
Riviera, to me, is great for a split stay.
That being said, there are certain aspects of the Riviera that I think are better. I think the atmosphere, it's nice for a couple of days. You don't feel lost. I think it's a little bit more laid back. The pool, like we talked about, is one of our favorite, it's our favorite pool to go to. It's quiet. You can just take a couple of quiet hours and really just relax.
I don't like the Grand Floridian's pool area. To me, that's a big minus for the Grand Floridian personally. So, I mean, the Riviera wins in the pool department. Pretty much everything else, I give the Grand Floridian that little extra edge. Now, if we're talking about cash prices at the Riviera and the value of the Riviera compared to maybe an off-property hotel, they are charging more cash price for the Riviera than they are for the Waldorf at Bonnet Creek, right next door. Here's a picture of the view from our room at the Waldorf, and you can see that the Riviera is right there. Hello. This is sort of the type of resort, though, that Disney is trying to compete with the Riviera. It's like you're pricing it like the Waldorf, but it's not the Waldorf. It's sure not the Four Seasons. So try out some of the resorts, rent some points, stay at the Riviera before you decide to buy there. And having Riviera as your home resort just really isn't for everybody. So in conclusion, is the Riviera as good as the Grand Floridian? Well, in some ways, yes. Like, I think the pool is better. The rooms are bigger.
Quick service is better.
The quick service is definitely better. The character meal is better. But in some ways, no, the location isn't better. It needs more restaurants.
It's not as wow. Everybody's first impression when they walk into the Grand Floridian is wow.
Yeah.
Because it's wow. The Riviera is not wow.
No, it's not.
It's great, but it's not wow.
I think that's fair. But it's still a really nice resort. We really like the resort. I highly recommend the resort, but probably not for an entire week. And by the way, you can experience most of the amenities of the resort without staying there. Really, the only thing that you can't experience without staying there are the pools and the fitness center. I like to just take the Skyliner over when we're staying at the boardwalk and go grab something to eat, or just hang around outside and listen to the music and visit the shop. It's great for doing that too. It's another Disney resort option, and I think that's always a good thing. Well, thanks for watching. Check out my other videos of the 2 studio reviews, and we'll see you next time for more Around the World with Erin.
And Jim.
Bye. Subscribe.